as I kind of get my situation figured out here. Bench press today, as always, with me right now. You know, I don't squat. I've got no real ability to squat to death. So, you know, I find it a bad idea to do it to partial range or anything like that. So, uh, and I'm nursing a also. No one will probably watch this, so this is just me mostly talking to myself, which is not all that different than normal, frankly. So that's okay. Instagram kind of drilled in a guy, Sam Sulek. Not sure if that's how you pronounce it, but and I kind of liked his idea here. I like the idea of I don't really have a training partner, which I'm fine with, uh, to be honest. I kind of like the solitude to some degree, but doing this, one, if there's one or two people that are interested in what a guy like me missing his leg does, um, it's worth showing. And then I have kind of feels like I'm not lifting alone, which you know, for all of its benefits, lifting alone and the solitude that I enjoy, it's kind of nice to be able to pontificate about nothing. At least I'm talking into a camera. It's not quite as crazy as just talking to myself without a camera. Start the warm ups here. I'm gonna work up to a moderate weight as I'm nursing back some shoulder issues here. Bumped my shoulder up a few months ago, and so been really focusing on close grip. Some tendonitis of the tendon on my left side here. I was able to bench. I was able to bench without too much issue, but it was painful, a little painful, but more problematic. It was getting a little worse and worse the more I the more I would do it, and so pressing overhead was tolerable uh, up to about 100 pounds, and then that fell off as well. Not feeling real good. So we're working up sets of five, working back my normal bench. My shoulder has been feeling good with the normal bench, and so I want to throw it back in because I miss doing it. Bench pressing is my favorite lift, obviously. Most guys think that way, but not being able to really squat, being fairly limited on my deadlift, uh, bench press is definitely taken hold as number one. So but we'll work up to 197 and a half today for a set of five, which is uh, nothing to throw a party about. But it's nice. It is nice to be able to bench normal again. close grip, or excuse me, pause bench, uh, to be specific. So the nice thing about the pause movements, whether bench, pause squat, you name it, the cool thing there is you can have a relatively light load relative to the individual's strength, but you can still get quite a bit of stress. In the case of the squat and the bench and these other movements, well, those two in particular, you take the stretch reflex out of the movement, which does assist you. And so when you take that out, you are able to use lower weight and still get a decent bit of stress. And when you're dealing with a injury or tweak, whatever, less weight without lowering the stress too much is a nice way to work around said problem area. Oh, the old handy dandy wrist wraps. So if you're a guy like me, or frankly a girl with skinny ass fucking wrists like I have, because I am a insect of a human, frankly. But when you're a small guy, small girl, you got these skinny little wrists. There's much you can do about the wrists, so throw a wrist wrap on. Otherwise, you might run into bar path troubles, deviation as the wrists break a little. So we'll keep them from overextending. A little more efficient transfer of force. Oh yeah, it's nice. It's nice. It feels good. Oh, sliding a little on the bench. Another thing that you skinny little bastard doesn't help with. I don't have a whole lot of ass, as my late great grandfather would tell me. Boy, you just don't have enough ass to move that. You just don't have enough ass to move that wheelbarrow around. And he was right, by and large. It's been many years since he's passed. Fuck. Wow, it's been a long time actually. A lot longer than I'd. Good. Well, I wish you were around to see that I have, in fact, put on a little more ass. He would still be correct in his assertion that I don't have enough of it. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Do the best you can. So we're doing ascending sets of 5. We're burning through the warm-ups pretty quick. Warm-ups for my situation, are a little different because you normally really want or need or benefit from doing ascending sets of 5. You do a few sets of 5, and then start to lower the reps as the weight increases until you finish with a single or double or something like that, and then you would go to work set. But so I'm resting a little more between my warm up, quote unquote, than I would otherwise, um, because I'm doing sets of 5 all the way through. But we're gonna burn through them pretty quick. No sense in belaboring the labor here as we jam up. All right. Nice. Yeah, feels good. Feels good. So we'll do 135 for 10, 155 for 5, jump to 185 for 5, then 190, then 195. And we'll get to the work set at 197. And so I'm doing one work set, but I'm loading up the back end of the sets with the weight, uh, almost like we're doing more than one work set. Because frankly, I want to work. I want to bench. I want to do 3x5, but I got to go easy with the shoulder and not fuck that up. So I'm going to get as close to 3 working sets as I can, but technically stay off of it. So 135, 155, 185, 190, 195, 197 and a half. That should do. That should do all right. So we'll rest a minute here. We'll work up and you'll notice. So I've got the disadvantage of missing the lower half of the leg, which is I mean, for the most part, a disadvantage. I suppose there's a silver lining to everything. But the one thing I struggle with as well is flexion in the knee. In that I lack it significantly. And while I've worked myself since the accident to get to a flexion range in which I can walk fairly normal, things like the bench press they're not helped by that lack of flexion. So you'll see, and although I found in coaching and in my own lifting after the accident that this is actually I think a solid way to go about it anyway. So you can, typically I think people instinctually want to bring their feet under them when they're getting set up for the bench, coiling the shoulders and the feet closer together to kind of create that tension. But what I found helps me, and what I found helps with some of my clients as well, is to get your feet, and this takes a little time to figure out, but get your feet in the position they'll need to be in, and then they're now static, and so they're the anchor point, and then you drive the shoulders back under you rather than the feet underneath of you, and you're done properly. You're always going to bring the shoulders underneath you anyway, but I really mean, like, don't move the feet at all from this point on. I know that's where they need to be. I have reference of the rack and where I always put my feet. And so if you're working out in a place, same place all the time, you can do that, and you just coil the shoulders in. A nice arch in your back. Everything is held tight, anchored at the feet, and then the leg drive can be initiated right away. I'm working really hard as we get one more rep here. So one, not let my feet move if I can help it. And also not pull my shoulders out of their position. I've taken the time to retract them and tuck them. And so if I can avoid letting them fall out of position so that I don't have to reset between each rep, I'm much better off, much more efficient. Not only in the ability to maintain a position where you're efficiently transferring force, but now I'm not wasting time in between reps. And while it's negligible, an extra second, an extra 2 seconds here, it's all time that adds up. So the more efficient and dialed in you could have your movement and form, setup, etc., better off you'll be in the long run. So I'll rest a few, although this is fairly light for me. Not that it's easy necessarily, but so I have no idea who's in here. Somebody's in here, which I appreciate, but I have no idea how to work this shit. So whoever you are, thanks for watching. We'll see. I mean, but yeah, so you learn to work around some of these things when you have some sort of injury with the shoulder, like I've had, which was not, I don't think, particularly serious, but a little bit of inflammation and whatnot in the tendon can be a real pain in the ass. So, but you can't not train. You can't just sit around and do nothing, right? So it's kind of a no-brainer. So you work around it. And the same could be said with something you might consider catastrophic, losing a leg, breaking an arm, whatever the hell. You figure out ways to work around it. And so that's what I did. That's what you do. Yeah. Training is what kept me from dying. So figured it'd be good to keep going with it for as long as I can. So we'll do bench press, which we're about done with. Then we'll do some curls, mostly because since I'm not pressing, I kind of just want to do something, to be honest with you. So I'm building through the curls, did a little arm workout. All this, I will say, all this close grip bench that I've been doing over the last probably 2 months, where I've done no normal bench at all outside of this is only the second time I've benched with my normal grip in the 8-10 weeks or so. The one thing I will say for sure is, like, as much as that kind of was a bummer, I'm just fucking hammering my triceps, man, with the close grip. And you get a good bit of tricep work closing out the regular bench, but when you bring in that stance, or excuse me, that grip, you really emphasize the tricep. You feel it. And then I've been alternating, which I'll do on Wednesday, curls, and then LTEs, line tricep extensions, and those are just killing the tricep, which is good. I don't do this stuff for the pump. I used to, and got very little results from it, frankly. But the pump is the pump. It feels good. And although I don't train for the pump anymore, I got to tell you, now that I've been getting some of it with these LTEs, it is nice. I will tell you, it's nice. And the post lift t-shirt change, of course, taking a quick peek in the mirror because I mean, blood's flowing. I'm absolutely jacked for those 2 or 3 minutes before it all starts to, yeah, before it all starts to dissipate. You know, you're never as jacked as your most recent pump, so you got to enjoy it. Enjoy it while you got it. Works at 197 and a half, 5, paused. Get a little shit off my shoe. All right, we'll see. Felt good. A little shaky though. I think I had this leg under me a tad too far actually, so kind of felt like I was bouncing on the ball of my foot, or fake ball of my fake foot, rather. But we'll see. Actually, I don't know if I assume I'll be able to go watch this back so I can see how this looked. Fuck, I hope so. Oh yeah, that feels good. Feels good to get that out of the way. The heavy work, and we're not too heavy right now. 197 and a half. That's not too much. 310s the 310s the single PR. So I don't see that happening anytime soon, but we're quite a ways off that right now. So it's not super heavy, but it does feel good. We'll do some curls for the girls. Mostly my wife, although she doesn't give a shit. Let's be honest. She loves me no matter what, so doesn't matter if I'm jacked. Although I suppose if I were a real slob, she might mind. She might notice that. But now to get the bar, I use the Easy Curl bar. Takes a little bit of pressure off the elbow, so, which might not be a problem for you, but can be a problem for some. And so we find that Easy Curl bar with takes a little bit of pressure off. Oh, and I really wish I could see who was in here. Oh well, maybe I'll be able to figure that out later. Oops, not that. Whoever you are, you're in here. You've been watching for a bit. Can't imagine it's particularly too exciting for you, but appreciate the support. So similarly to the bench press and whatever else we're doing, we'll warm up. And How you warm up is kind of up to you. The reality is just doing some weight lighter than your work set at whatever the movement is. So you warm up with for your curls by doing curls, warm up for your bench by doing bench, squat by doing squat, etc. But if you are into doing other shit, if that makes you happy, I say go for it. Because it's not so much that there's a quote unquote wrong and right way. I mean, for some things, there certainly is a wrong and right way to go about it. But you know, the reality is that the program that you will follow is the one that's best for you. Um, because doing nothing is is problematic. And so, if you want to roll around on a foam roller and stretch for an hour before you lift, okay, well, I would say that that's an inefficient use of your time. However, if you're not going to do the training without it, well, then fucking do it. Do the foam roll, do the stretch, whatever. If that's going to get you in the mindset to train and stay with it consistently, um, then do it. You know, just fucking do it. But you want to warm up somehow. You know. We're going to be kind of doing the Mike Mentzer. It's not exactly, but for the accessory work, which curls are, they're not your big movers. We're going to do a little higher volume. Uh, the idea being to kind of, you know, those last few reps, we're going to shoot for anywhere between 8 and 12. And so the idea is that there's no way really that you're going to get 12. Or excuse me. There's really no way you're going to get uh, more than 12, right? The idea is that the 12, by the time you're at 12, you're grinding pretty damn hard in order to get it, because we really want those last few reps to be, basically you're so fatigued, uh, so you fatigue them with the first 7, 8, whatever it is. So just pick a number, and then that way those last few, because you're spent, frankly, and you're really getting to the end of what you've got in the tank. Your The idea is that you're getting the most, you're getting as much motor recruitment as you possibly can, because you fatigue, you know, the first team, so to speak, and then the few that you've got for the second team. Uh, you run those fuckers out too, and so that 10, 11, 12, they might be fairly ugly. Um, but if you can get that 13th, then it probably wasn't quite heavy enough. So we'll do a last warm up here. just a few reps. I think my arms are, especially after the bench press, are pretty warm. And there we go. So now we set the timer just for a few, because I don't want to, with these, you probably don't want to set the timer. You don't want to be too gung-ho about really making sure you're rested necessarily, because again, these are accessory work, and what we're really trying to do is burn them out. So having a bunch of rest is not necessarily going to help. But when you're strength training and you're pushing heavy, we're not resting through the warm-ups, but you definitely want to be rested for the work set, because that's you know that's where the winning is done, so to speak. And if you're, a lot of guys in the gym will get real short rests. Kind of going back to what I was saying, you're working out in a state of fatigue to some degree there, and so you're pushing your muscles to recruit as much as you can, which is fine in certain contexts, certainly. But when you're pushing heavy, and the goal is to continue to push heavy and add to your frame and build strength, and then therefore increase the size of the muscle. In order to make sure you can do the heavy weight, you need to be rested. And so, there's a time and place for the short rest, but if you're not resting long enough so that you can get your work done, what are you really doing? It's seems like a losing game plan. Throwing the belt on here. Now remember, the belt is not going to, in of itself, do a whole lot for you, right? But it gives you a nice proprioceptive feedback so that you know when you are bracing and when you have lost your brace, right? So it's good to use, and once you get used to using it, it's a incredibly useful tool. Now, this is going to be a little annoying because I'm going to have to say the rep number out loud, so bear with me, but otherwise I tend to forget where I'm at.